All right, let's talk about whiskey. You know the feeling, right? You walk into a store, you see that giant wall of bottles, and you just have absolutely no idea where to even start. Well, if that's you, you're in the right place. We're going to break down the major styles, how to actually taste it, and what all those fancy words on the label really mean. Let's dive in. Yeah, this site right here can be a little intimidating. It feels like you're trying to choose a book from a library where you don't speak the language. So many bottles, so many names, it's a lot. But I promise, it's not nearly as complicated as it looks, and we're going to figure it all out together. So, first things first, let's get this out of the way. Whiskey with no E or whiskey with an E? What's the deal? It really just comes down to where it's from. The story goes that back in the 1800s, Irish distillers wanted to make their stuff stand out from their Scottish competition, so they popped an E in there, and it just stuck. So a simple rule of thumb, if it's from Scotland, Canada, or Japan, it's whiskey. If it's from Ireland or the USA, it's whiskey. Easy enough, right?
Okay, let's officially begin your journey. Think of this as your starter pack, everything you need to know to walk up to any bar or any store and feel confident about what you're looking at.
So what even is this stuff? Well, at its most basic, whiskey is just a spirit made from fermented grain. You know, stuff like barley, corn, rye, or wheat. You make a sort of beer from it, then you distill that to concentrate the alcohol. Then, and this is the important part, you put it into wooden barrels to age. That's where all the color and a huge amount of the flavor comes from. That simple formula, grain, distillation, aging, that's the blueprint for every single whiskey in the world.
Now for the really fun part. Let's take a quick world tour in a glass and meet the main players. Now look, there are incredible whiskeys from all over like Japan and Canada, but today we're going to focus on the big four. Each one has its own personality, its own rules, and its own unique flavor.
First stop, the good old USA, to talk about bourbon. To be called bourbon, it has to be made from at least 51% corn, and it has to be aged in brand new charred oak barrels. That corn is the absolute star of the show here. It's what gives bourbon that classic sweetness. Think rich caramel, warm vanilla, a little bit of toffee. It's a real crowd pleaser for a reason.
Also from the US is bourbon's feisty cousin, rye. And you guessed it, it has to be made from at least 51% rye grain. Now, where corn gives you sweetness, rye gives you spice. We're talking a peppery kick, sometimes a little bit of herbal or grassy notes. If bourbon is a warm hug, rye is a spicy high five.
Hopping across the pond, we land in Scotland for, well, Scotch. This has to be made in Scotland, almost always from malted barley, and aged for at least 3 years. Now, the flavor here is all over the map. You can get light and fruity scotches, or you can get those big, bold, smoky ones that people talk about. That smoky flavor comes from drying the barley over a fire fueled by peat, which is basically decomposed vegetation. It's a really unique, powerful flavor.
And just a short hop over to Ireland. Irish whiskey is famous for one thing above all else, being incredibly smooth. The secret? It's usually distilled 3 times, whereas Scotch is typically distilled twice. That extra round of distillation strips out more of the heavier compounds, leaving a spirit that's super smooth, light, often a bit floral and fruity. It's an absolutely fantastic place to start your whiskey journey. So, to quickly recap, this little chart really says it all. The main ingredient pretty much dictates the main flavor profile. Corn equals sweet for bourbon. Rye equals spicy for, well, rye. And barley is the foundation for the huge, diverse world of Scotch, from malty to smoky. It's a great little cheat sheet to have in your back pocket. Okay, so you've got a bottle in front of you. Now what? Let's talk about how to actually taste it. And trust me, the goal isn't just to throw it back and wince at the burn. There's a real art to it, and it's a full sensory experience.
The pros keep it pretty simple with a 3-step method. First, just look at it. Check out the color. A darker color might mean it's older or aged in a certain type of barrel. Second, and this is probably the most important step, is to smell it. We call this nosing the whiskey. Gently bring it to your nose and breathe in. A huge percentage of what we think of as taste is actually smell. So what do you get? Fruit? Caramel? Smoke? And finally, take a tiny sip. Don't gulp it, let it roll around and coat your tongue before you swallow. That's how you'll get the full experience.
All right, you've taken that first neat sip. Now comes the million-dollar question for every beginner. Should you add water or ice? You see people do both, so what's the right answer?
Well, here's the thing. They do totally different jobs. Adding a few drops of water can actually be like magic. It lowers the alcohol percentage just a little, which can tame the burn and allow more subtle flavors and aromas to open up and come forward. Ice, on the other hand, mainly just chills the drink. That cold temperature can numb your palate a bit and mute some of those complex flavors. But hey, on a hot day, it can also be super refreshing. Honestly, there's no wrong answer. The best thing to do is experiment and see what you like best.
Now that you know how to taste, let's learn how to speak the language on the bottle. Understanding just a few of these key terms will completely change how you shop for whiskey. Let's do a little rapid-fire round.
First up, single malt. You see this a lot with Scotch. It's pretty simple. Single means it all came from one single distillery, and malt means it's made from 100% malted barley. That's it. It's all about capturing the unique character and flavor of that one specific place. And on the flip side, you've got blended whiskey. This is a mix of different whiskeys, sometimes from dozens of distilleries. Here, the goal isn't to taste one distillery's character, the goal is consistency. The master blender's job is to create a perfectly balanced product that tastes exactly the same bottle after bottle, year after year.
Ever see a big number on a bottle, like 12 years? What does that actually mean? Well, that age statement always refers to the youngest whiskey in that bottle. So a 12-year-old Scotch could have whiskeys that are 15, 20, even 30 years old in the mix, but every single drop has spent at least 12 years in that wooden cask. And generally speaking, more time in the barrel means more flavor and more complexity.
Now, if you ever see cask strength or barrel proof on a label, brace yourself. Most whiskey is diluted with a bit of water before it's bottled to bring it down to a standard strength. Cask strength skips that step. It is bottled straight from the barrel at its full, natural, untamed strength. The flavors are massive, the texture is richer, and the alcohol is way higher. It's a really intense and pure way to experience whiskey.
So, we've gone through the what, the where, and the how. But now comes the most important part of all, your own exploration. Because the goal here isn't to find the best whiskey in the world, it's to find the whiskey that's best for you. And that's the real beauty of it. You can sit and slowly sip it neat to appreciate every little nuance. You can pour it over a big ice cube for a refreshing drink, or you can use its bold flavors as the backbone for an amazing cocktail, like a classic old-fashioned. There is no single right way to drink it.
And look, if you only remember one thing from all of this, please let it be this. Don't ever let anyone make you feel bad about what you like. The whiskey world can feel a little snobby sometimes, but at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is what tastes good to you. The best whiskey is the one you enjoy drinking, period. So, there you have it. You've got the map, you know the major styles, you know how to taste, and you can decode the labels. Your journey into the amazing world of whiskey is officially ready for takeoff. The only question left is, what are you going to try first?